fast, and I'm down to about 40 minutes, so you guys have to listen really fast, okay? And you know, I say that, but it'll be longer than that. But I'm just letting you know, okay? I try to give you hope. I'm a hope dealer, so y'all get that later. Anyway, so I try to give you hope that you're going to get out in a timely manner. And I try to. I got the privilege of teaching the adult class out here this morning, and I tell them I don't like to teach and then preach because I don't want you to get so familiar with my voice it just becomes noise. And so this is like, is he still talking? And so, so just letting you know. But I enjoyed that. Thank you, David. I really enjoyed having that opportunity. And we're talking about a little bit about our perception today. Ethan wasn't here today. How many have ever watched the movie The Green Mile? It's okay. It's not a sin. Okay. Is it okay? Yes. Okay. The Green Mile. All right. You didn't go to the movie theater. You watched it at home, so it's not a sin. So, just kidding. How many remember a character in the name Wild Bill? Remember Wild Bill? Okay. How many remember Percy? Remember Percy? Percy shot Wild Bill in the cell, remember? Get your mind going. Get your mind going. Okay. Green Mile, I know it's 1999. You know, hang with me. Okay. And so, Percy's walking by, and Wild Bill says, "What you looking at? What you looking at, boy?" Remember? Yep. All right, okay. That's my best Wild Bill. Sorry, it gets better. All right, so I'll work on it. But what you looking at? So I'm going to preach to you today about what you looking at. What? And Ethan wasn't here for me to put my stuff up there, so it's Ethan's fault. And so, I have a question for you. What are you looking at? What is your perception? I just going to throw this at you, and you guys can do with it what you will. Take it if you need it, leave it if you don't need it. I had a professor in college that would always say that. Take what you need, leave what you don't want. Okay. Meant nothing to an 18-year-old kid, but okay. That meant I didn't have to take notes. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what it meant to me. So take what you need, leave what you don't want. But I'm going to ask you a few questions this morning, and I promise I'll get you out in a timely manner, and I'll try not to bore you too bad. Leave. Ready? What are you looking at? How is this church perceived in your mind? When you think about your, don't answer me out loud. When you think about your church, what do you think? Is this place important to you? Is this place just a place to come meet? Is this place because, you know, just kind of funny sometimes? And so, of all the preachers I hate him the least. Okay? And so, I'll come listen to him. Or is it precious to you? How is this place perceived? I'll give you kind of what the community's perception has always been in my eyes, has always been of our church. And I've been in this community for almost 51 years now, and I'm 50. So, there you go. I've been here since 1969. I've been here a day or two. I've been here since there was a Waggers. You don't even know what Waggers is, but I know what it is. How many remember Otasco? I remember what it stands for. There you go. All right. Some of y'all know. All right. It wasn't some Italian guy's last name. It's Oklahoma Tigers. Okay, listen. So, in our community, we've always been thought of as small. Still yet today, you tell somebody, I go to the Temple of Praise, they say, where's that? Serious. Right? Where's that? 2 blocks behind Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's what I always tell everybody. You know? And then they go, oh yeah, I know where that's at. But in the perception of the community, we've always been perceived as small because they don't know us. Right? We've always been perceived as not poor, but not wealthy. Kind of, mediocre. We have a median The median pay in Oklahoma is $50,000. And some of us make that, some of us don't. So we kind of fall in the middle. We've been perceived as limited. I've perceived us as limited because of the facility. I'm trying to, like I said this morning in Sunday school, trying to cram people in every closet we can to try to get stuff done. And try to get teachers to teach and things like that. And so we are seen to be limited. And in my 50 years of being in Seminole and my 48 years of being connected to this church, there's always been a limited vision, not a complete vision, but just a limited one. Yes, we're going to go win souls. Okay, that's not a vision. That's just what we're supposed to do. How we are going to do that, that is a vision. Where are we going from here is a vision, not simply a platitude or something that we say to get the congregants to say amen.
Right. Good.
Okay. This is going really well. Okay. This is how we are perceived, though, in the community. Not that we're not perceived badly. We're not perceived as great. We're just perceived as that church behind Kentucky Fried Chicken that has all those kids they feed. That's how we're perceived. And that's fine. I can deal with that. I'm cool with that. That's because that's kind of what we do, right? We are just kind of that. But this is who we are. This is who we are. We are a starting point for somebody to start their life over again. We are a starting point. We're not the completing point, but we are the starting point. There's no checkered flags here. There's just a green flag. We just need to start from here. We need to draw people into the kingdom of God, get them to start from here. If we can draw them into the kingdom, we can get them to start. We are blessed beyond words. That's who we are. I am blessed to be part of this church. I love my church. I don't like everything about my church. And Billy always tells me, well, that's your fault. Aren't you the CEP? Chief Executive Pastor. Then that's your fault. I don't like Billy. Anyway, not this Billy. Billy Halleck. I don't like him. And so, because Billy Halleck always challenges me. He's like, that's your fault. But listen, we're blessed beyond words. We're limited only by our own limitations.
That's right.
We put our own limitations on ourselves. Well, we can't do that. That's for the Baptist church to do. We can't do that. We're the church 2 blocks behind Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Good preaching. Come on.
And so we limit ourselves by our own limitations. Because instead of saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, we say, I can do some things through my church 2 blocks behind Kentucky Fried Chicken. And we have all been blessed beyond measure. I look around me and I don't see, well, look at the poverty-stricken people. You're not poverty-stricken. Look at you. You drive better cars than you've ever driven in your life. This one has air conditioning. It's awesome. It even had a heater, right? It had a defroster that blew and actually defrosted your window. Some of y'all didn't get up early enough to know there was frost. But there was frost this morning. And I got to drive in comfort. Now, I told my wife, is it Abby? I told Abby that she drives a dumpster. I'm going to put a, what's that, WCA thing on the side of her car? And her response is always, it's not my stuff, it's your car. Okay, so here we go. Anyway, but we're blessed beyond words. We're limited by our limitations, and the thing is that we've always been, as a church body, we have a problem catching the vision of the pastor. What do I mean by that? I'll just use me for example, because I've been here 8 years. Lord have mercy. Okay, I've been the pastor for 8 years. The passion and the vision of the pastor is presented, and then comes the inflow of, yeah, but we can do this, and yeah, we can do that, we can do this, and that, but we need to do this, and this. And I'm like, overwhelmed. Okay? So what I'm saying is this, is that catching the vision of the pastor has to be this, that whatever God has laid on the pastor's heart, we must follow that. Yes, it's good to have great ideas. And sometimes they're good ideas, but are they God ideas? And so we have to come in there and we have to do what God has called us to do, because sometimes we have a problem connecting with the vision of what God has placed in front of us.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Good. Come on.
What's the vision? That's the next question, right? What's the vision? Well, on our sign it says a church family bringing families to God, Christ. A church family bringing families to Christ. That's what it says on our church sign out 3 miles out here. What is this? I guess it's 4 miles from here. A church family bringing families to Christ. That sounds really cool, doesn't it? I spent a long time doing that. Because the first one was like 9 pages long. It was like paragraph 2. And so it was awful. And so then I broke it down to some other smaller things, bringing broken-hearted people that have left arms that are hanging off to cry. I don't know what it was. And so we transformed that to something else, and we did a whole other thing. And I finally broke it down to where it is what did I say? A church family bringing families to Christ. Okay? But what is the vision? That sounds really good, but here's the vision. To occupy and harvest our part of God's field. I can't reach Oklahoma City. I can't even reach Shawnee. But I can reach this part of God's field. To not be limited by what we are perceived, but to do what God has called us to do. To catch the vision of God and refuse to settle for anything short of what God's called us for. To not to settle. Not to just say, look how much more we've done. You know, time is ticking away in my life. I have more time behind me than I have in front of me. Unless I live to be 100, which would be awesome. As long as I have my mind and I can get around, I'll live to be 100. That's cool with me. But time is ticking, and as the clock ticks, I get more aware of that I'm not going to be here forever. And if I'm going to do something for God, I've got to do it now. And I've got to get hold of what God's calling and God's vision is now. And I have to be sure that God's vision is what I need to do. And push forward in that direction. And to do that. So the vision is to occupy and harvest God's field, this part of God's field, to not be limited by how I'm perceived, but how God perceives me, and to catch the vision of God, and to refuse to settle for anything less than what God has promised. It's not hard, it's just hard to implement. In Hebrews 12, I'll read scripture just so I can say I did. Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. It's getting there. When you get there, say amen. I like how nobody turns in their Bible anymore. I didn't even turn to my Bible anymore. I'm just looking at the screen like a dope. Here. Stephen's getting there. I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm going to prophesy. It shall be on the screen. All right. Hebrews. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Hebrews. I'm getting there. Hebrews chapter 12. Start with verse 1. That's all right, Steve got it. Wherefore, seeing there we go. There you go, Stephen. You're the man. All right. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that's set before us. Verse 2. Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Let's go back to 1. Therefore also, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight. Church, my church has always had these weights on. I call my church, this is what it's God's church. You know what I'm saying. Don't get all spiritual. Okay. Most of you don't go to Walmart and say, where do you go to church? I go to the Lord's church. It's called Temple of Praise. Where's that? Okay, and so, wherefore, since we are surrounded with such a great crowd of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight. Our church has always had these weights hanging on us because we limit ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And with those weights comes sin. And with that sin, it ensnares us and it gets us into a place that we are no longer able to function and do what God's called us to do. I threw out 4 weights, and I just want to throw them out there to you, and you can deal with them or leave what you don't need. Number 1, money has always been a weight.
Right.
You can go to any church this morning. Can I tell you that about 8% of Christians, evangelical Christians, biblically tithe into their local body? 8%. That's the average. What's a biblical tithe? Somebody tell me, so I don't have to say it. 10% of your gross income. Very good. We know it. I'm not saying that we do that. I don't. Let me just put your mind at ease. I have no idea who gives or what you give. I don't have a clue. Don't want to know. Why? So I can look at you and say, we need to do what God says do. I don't want to have to look down. I have no idea what anybody in this church gives. Now, if you're a leader, I want to know if you're a tither. But other than that, I don't know. I don't even know what the amount that you tithe. I just want to know if you're a tither. So I don't know. Why? Why have to be a tither to be a leader? I'll tell you why. Because if you don't buy in, no one else will buy in. What you put in is what you're going to get out. Going back. Money. Money's always been an issue. It's always an issue. You go to any church, anytime, anywhere, and they'll have a building fund going, or they'll have a capital campaign going, or they'll have whatever you can call it. We're selling candy bars for the youth, or we're making peanut brittle, or why? Why do we do that? Because we have to get money. Why? Because you don't get to have toilet paper without money. The angels don't come place it in there. Somebody has to go buy that. You're welcome. Okay, anyway, so I don't pay for it. Listen, time. Time has always been a weight. Time. Workers. Prayerlessness. It's always been a weight. Money has always been a weight. We never seem to be able to get over that weight. Are y'all with me this morning? Am I boring you? Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. Okay. There never seems to be enough. It always seems to be out of reach. So I can see what we need, but man, I just can't quite get there. Okay. We must not let money or the lack thereof ever define who we are as a church. I'm going to say that again because y'all didn't catch that. We should never let, as our perception is, a lack of money ever stop us from being what God's called us to be. What is that? An outreach into a community. I don't care if I have to buy ice myself. I'm going to go buy ice and go give it and go do what I have to do. We are reaching out into a community regardless. Can I tell you, one of our churches closed and they had thousands of dollars in the bank, but they had no people in the pews. Why? Because it became internal. Hang on to what I have.
Good preaching. Come on.
Hang on to this. And there was a world out there begging and crying for somebody to reach out to them, but if we can't spend that money, we won't get any more in.
Good preaching. All right, come on.
I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I have an issue with that. If I'm not spending God's money on reaching people, then why do I have it? Why are we not doing what God has called us? I'm not saying go spend everything like a drunken sailor on leave. I'm saying just go do what God has called us to do. Regardless, if we think we can't quote unquote afford it, then let's raise the money and go do it, whatever we have to do. But money should not ever hold us back because God said what? That He is in control of this thing, not me. And if we would all do what God has called and commanded in His Word, that would never be an issue in the first place. Preach on preaching. Some of y'all never. I'm on the paramount. Some of y'all had a free lunch since the time you've been here 35 years ago. Have never biblically tithed. But I can't afford to. That's what people who don't tithe say. Woo! Good preaching, Brother Jim. I know. I heard it. It was good. It was really good. I know you didn't like it, but it was really good. Some folks have never given. Well, I don't have it. Baby, listen, I'm going to tell you that God is a hand on the Bible, hand in the air. God's honest truth. I gave 3 cents in an offering one time that I found on the way into the building and put it in an envelope and wrote my name on it proudly and stuff. Why? Because I was excited about what God was doing in my life, and that's all the money I had. I didn't have a save. I didn't test a lie. Well, we didn't have any money. We don't have any cash. Have a savings account, though, don't you?
Come on.
I didn't have a savings account. I didn't have a 401k. I didn't have a 403 whatever. I didn't have any of that nonsense. I had 3 cents I found coming in the parking lot. And I gave that at Rod Parsley's church.
Yes, come on.
Truth. Truth. I gave it at a conference. I spent every bit of money I had getting to the conference. I had bologna and Pepsi and an ice chest and a loaf of bread. That's what I ate for 2 days. Why? Why would you do that? Because I was excited about what God was doing in my life. It was, church just wasn't, Not right now. Listen, we must not let our money, just a second, you can't, Steve, just give me a second. We must not let our money or lack thereof show who we are. Money is simply a tool we use to do the work of Christ. It's a tool. It's a hammer. How many hammers do you have? How many hammers do you need? How many hammers? Whatever you need. I have several hammers, several different kinds of hammers. I've got a rubber mallet. I've got a bigger rubber mallet. I've got a hammer, a claw hammer. I've got a mallet. How many hammers do you need? It's still a hammer, but it's used for what you need for at that time. So money is not either evil or good. Now, where that, Brother Jeff? The Bible says money is the root of all evil. Wrong. Money says the love of money is the root of all evil, not money. Money is neither evil nor not evil. It is just simply a tool. Money causes things to happen when you use it. Money causes things to happen when you use it the right way. Giving to God causes blessing to come into your life. And not giving causes problems to arise in your life. It's your choice. It's your choice. I'm not going to be mad at you either way. It's up to you, not me. I'm not gonna go into your bank account and see how much money you gave. I don't care. Jesus cared. He leaned up against the temple wall and watched people putting in an offering. And he saw a widow woman give 2 mites. And said she gave more than anybody. Amen. Why? Because she gave out of her heart, not out of her blessing. It's your choice. God sees those that have to give and those that don't have to give. But you know what he sees? Your heart. Your heart. Money is a weight that we have to cast off in order to see the end of what God has started. This is a starting point for people. And the second one is time. Another weight. Having the time to accomplish the vision. The time. Setting aside time to do the task necessary to accomplish the vision of God. Small steps lead to a long journey. You've got to take the time. I know you don't want to take the time, but you have to take the time. You have to decide, is it relevant to your life or not? Is this thing important to you or not? I'm going to throw this at you. Please don't be offended. Get some root in you. Don't get offended. But if your church is not important to you, is your church important to you? Does it matter to you? Are you anticipating when you get here or just going through the motions? Another way is having time to accomplish the vision, setting aside time. Listen, if we do the small things, well, we will find that the large things aren't that hard. But we've got to do the small things well. The small things well. Receiving an offering. It isn't just so we can get it out of the way. Oh, let's take up the offering. We'll get that out of the way. I despise that. The offering is not just to get out of the way. The worship is not the opening act so we can have church.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If we do the small things well, we'll find that the large things are not hard at all. The mountains can be moved, but only by one shovelful at a time. You have to be willing to grab a wheelbarrow and move that dirt. But there's a lot of people that don't want to be dirty. They just want the mountain moved.
Yeah. Good.
I don't want to get caught up in all that church stuff. I just want to come to church and enjoy the benefit of what somebody else did for me.
That's good.
Is that okay? The more people that with shovels, the less everyone has to do. The more people completing their task touches more people.
Yes.
When you're doing what God has called you to do, you have any idea how many tentacles this church has right now? We do a lot of stuff out of this small church behind Kentucky Fried Chicken. We do. There's a lot of people's lives that have been touched by this church, not because of me, but because of what you guys do. The more people completing their task touches more people in the community, and then listen, and they are thankful, and they are trying to do everything that you can to accomplish the intimidating task that God has given us. Listen, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes the task that God has given me is intimidating. It definitely is. It's hard to wrap my mind around what God really wants me to do. And I think, God, I'm just Jeff from Highland, man. I don't know a lot of everything, but dude, I'm just a kid that played in the dirt.
Yeah.
You know, our sunscreen was dirt. We didn't have our sunscreen. We didn't have PF whatever. We had dirt, man. It worked. Amen. I didn't know if it was a tan or dirt, but it worked. Okay, and so we went to the swimming pool to get clean. Amen. Here we go. Listen, so. All right. I can't reach this city by myself. As good as I am. And this is what Sam Walton said. Anybody know who Sam Walton is?
Yes, sir.
He did all right. Yeah. He said individuals fail, but teams win. Individuals fail, but teams win. We are part of the same team. Part of the same team. This is our church. This is our body of Christ that we're a part of. This isn't simply, whatever. I'll go when I feel like it. I went to church when I felt like it. I may not be here today.
Yeah.
Why? Because my body said, man, you can just sleep for another hour and a half.
Yeah.
You've gone to church most of your life. It's okay. You don't really have to go to church. I'm the preacher. I have to go. I'm going to stand there and look at the pulpit. I got to go. Whether people understand this or not, I'm going to throw this at you. I don't float 2 feet off the ground, and there's not a halo around my head, and I don't speak in King James. I'm just a dude. Just a guy that God has called to do something great and amazing, and I don't know how to do it. So I have to rely on Him. And He doesn't tell me the whole story. He just gives me bits and pieces. And says, do that and trust me. And I'm like, I don't want to do that and trust you. Why don't you just tell me the whole end of the story, and then I'll see if I want to do that. Is that okay to be honest?
Yeah.
We're part of the same team. Amen? I'm a basketball nut, man. I was a gym rat. I love the gym. I still love the gym. I love the smell of the gym. Isn't that weird? When you walk in, it's like, I'm home. There's used to run with nobody. I used to break into the gym that he's in now. I used to break into the gym just so I could run. Just so I could shoot. Never started one game. I think I started my senior year for senior night. Never started one game, but I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Still love it. I'm just old and fat now. But I loved it. I would leave a door cracked. So when everybody was gone, I could break into the gym. I could get my basketball in my locker. And I knew exactly which breaker to flip that goes right over the top of the goal it's on this end. So no other lights would be on, so nobody knows in there. I'm not supposed to tell the truth, isn't I? And so, I absolutely loved it. I'd go and just be there. Shoot free throws. We didn't have a three-pointer. Told you I was old. That came out in 1988. I graduated in 87. I had the line, just didn't count. So we always got in trouble for shooting threes. Now you can shoot from a circle and it's all good. Okay, so this, I say all that to say this. I'm winding up. Why did you love basketball so much, Jeff? There was a guy named Winford Case. He's one of the assistant coaches at Middle Tennessee State now. It absolutely made me fall in love with basketball. He was my summer league coach for 1 year. And we absolutely we loved Win. Win was he's an amazing guy. Him and Anthony Bowie were our coaches. And some of y'all know who they are, some of you don't. They played at Seminole State at that time, and they were coaching. And those two guys made 20 guys just absolutely fall in love with basketball. We had so much fun with those guys. And we thought they were so much older, but they were, 3 years older than us. We didn't have any idea. Okay, but we thought they were so much older than us, and they were absolutely the most. I have never seen anybody handle the ball like Win Case can handle the ball. And I've never seen anybody do that. And he made me fall in love to the point that I didn't care if I started. I didn't care if I got to play. I loved basketball. I was part of that team. I didn't love not getting to play, but I loved basketball so much I would break into a gym and commit a crime just to go run and shoot. That is weird. It is. But I had to be part of that team. Winford, he made us so fall in love with basketball. We would play for hours and hours and hours. And back when Chase Park would actually let you play basketball in it, we would play until it got dark, and then they put a street light for us, and we would play. Then the neighbors started complaining because it was too loud because we'd be there till 10 o'clock at night. And so they took the basketball goals down. So then people started breaking into stuff instead of going play basketball. And so was that a win? I don't know. And so listen, but as a player, I got to be, so I'm older now. I have a hernia in my belly, if that's what that lump is, if you guys are wondering. I got it playing basketball against my son and his little friends when they were in 8th grade or 9th grade, something like that, because I jumped because he got tall, and so I had to jump, and I had to reach and rebound because I was not going to let these little punks beat me, and I rebounded the ball, and I went, oh, that kind of hurt a little bit. And then 2 days later, I had a baby foot sticking in it, okay? Okay? And so, I call it a baby foot because it looks like a pregnant lady's baby's foot, okay? And so, anyway, but the position has changed. I'm not a high school bench-sitting player anymore. I'm a 50-year-old guy that still has a passion for something I did 35 years ago, and it still is there, and you still give me a ball and we'll shoot it, okay? I love it. The passion didn't die because my position had changed on the team. Are you with me? You better get with me because we're going somewhere in the next 5 minutes. I love my church. My life has been spent in these blocks in this building. Some of the people that I've gone to church with, though, have issues that you've never had to deal with because you still think you're a high school basketball player and it's been 35 years ago and you still want to be part of the team that way instead of still having a passion for what you fell in love with in the first place. You with me?
Yes.
You think the position that you had is always yours. No. There's a 16-year-old that'll make you break your ankles because they have more talent, athletic ability. Now I can still shoot, but I just hop. The basketball court has gotten shorter. 3-point line to 3-point line. It's still the same width. That's what's awful. It's 3-point line to 3-point line. It's gotten a lot shorter. I'm not running baseline to baseline. Not happening. Why? Because I'm old and fat, and I'm not doing it. And I don't feel like throwing up. Okay? And so, I'm not doing that. I still shoot. And I still love it. And I still watch it. And I still feel like I can do it, even though I know my body can't. I'm not 16.
Good.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Some of you folks need to graduate.
Right. Good.
Come on. Good job, preacher.
Prayerlessness, and I'll leave you alone. Prayerlessness. Are you willing to spend some time in prayer? Are you willing to spend some time for God's direction for your life? Are you willing to spend some time for God's direction for your part in this church? God, what do you want me to do here? Can you see yourself as a vital part of this church or not? I hope you can. Working for God and the completion of His vision for this body without spending time in prayer, it's like trying to do a job where you've never been trained and trying to do it with excellence. Have you ever seen is it the AT&T? Is it AT&T good enough? Anyway, where the guy is laying there and said, have you ever worked with Dr. So-and-so? Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah.
And then he walks in, hey, guess who got reinstated? Yeah. Well, almost. Nervous? Yeah, me too. Is that the kind of, we'll figure it out. See you in there. What? That is trying to do that job. We're trying to do this job with excellence without spending any time with the guy who's called us to do it.
Yeah.
I say, God, give me some direction. When I started this little dissertation, my whole saying was this. Sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my mind around what God would have me to do because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I know you're not supposed to say that to everybody and tell them the truth.
Come on, brother. Come on.
All right.
I've learned a lot about what I'm doing, but I have to be in contact with Him to know how to do what it is.
Right.
Jeff, I need you to listen to this. Why? Listen to this. Why? Never gives me an answer. Listen to this. Why? Doesn't answer. Because until I do this and this, He won't give me that.
Right.
So sometimes I get stuck at this and this, and I don't know how to do that.
Yes.
You with me?
Yes.
So I'm frozen, I'm wrapping up. Everybody said, thank God. Okay, and wrap it up. I didn't mean to bore you. What you looking at, boy? Are you looking at what you don't have, what you can't have, or how people perceive you? Or are you looking at how God perceives you? How is it that God, how are you looking at yourself? How do you look at your church as, hammer that church behind Craig Fretchet? Or do you see yourself as what God has called you to be? A community changing, community church, a starting point for people's lives. Maybe we're not the finish line for your life, but we are the starting point for your life. Maybe you won't finish your ministry here, but you'll start it here.
Right.
Maybe you don't finish your Christian walk in Seminole at Temple of Praise Church, but you may start your journey in Seminole at Temple of Praise Church. We need to be a starting point because there's people out there, listen, I'm telling you right now, guys, listen to me and I'll wrap, I promise you I'll get you out of here. Listen. There are people waking up this morning that are tired of their life. Okay? There are people in every walk of life, rich, poor, medium, that wake up hollow inside and don't know what to do to fix the hollowness. And so some of them turn to a gun, some of them turn to drugs, some of them turn to alcohol, some of them turn to sex with whoever, whenever, and some of them do whatever they have to do to fill that void. And what happens is this, is that we are responsible to go tell the world that we have the answer for their cancer. And if they would simply let us help them, we can lead them to Christ. Well, that sounds good, Brother Jeff. You're a preacher, and that sounds really good. But how do we do that? I'll tell you how we do that. We become a team and do what God's called us to do. And you follow the leading of the Holy Ghost and move forward. Amen? Amen? Can we do that? Can someone say amen? Amen. Before we dismiss, Brother Stephen, you want to testify?